For Thanksgiving festivities are there. The holiday weekend means a flock of flyers. At Louisville International Airport, Robert Fellows is home from the Air Force to see his baby girl.
A lot glad to see her. A whole lot glad to see her.
She's beautiful.
Thank you.
And West Point will have to do without one of Kentucky's cadets.
That's a real treat to us to have him here. West Point's far away from Kentucky. Aaron, you're not glad to see Mom, are you?
Oh, definitely, man. Definitely. It's, like you said, the first year's the roughest. But, I don't know, it makes it all worth it when I can come home, and it kind of makes me appreciate where I'm at.
The day before Thanksgiving is traditionally the heaviest travel day of the year. But some industry analysts say this Sunday, the day that most travelers return home, could surpass yesterday's large crowds. Some grocery stores are operating on holiday hours, so...
Oh my gosh. Aaron.
The whole airplane. You got the whole airplane going. Thank you all. Thank you.
It's all by yourself.
I missed it.
She's sitting there at my back.
Aaron, congratulations.
Thanks.
Well, I can't see. I'm going to come over there. No, it's okay. Hold still. Hold that hand still, girl. You're shaking.
Amy passed out the flowers.
Put your other hand underneath here.
If you would have
We feel like we all know you.
We'll send you a picture. Okay. Thanks, Steve.
Oh, I wish I would have gotten that.
that help.
They made an announcement on the PA?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
That bought me a drink and everything.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's great. So they were all just looking forward to getting off the plane.
Man, this is just a proposal. I can't wait for the wedding.
What'd you say, Jack?
I said, this is just a proposal. I can't wait to the wedding.
Oh, it's so pretty.
No, it fits good.
It looks a little loose.
No, it's not.
I don't care. I don't care. I can get it out. It fits.
It's beautiful.
This Wednesday, funeral services will be held for NBC reporter David Bloom. Bloom died after suffering a pulmonary embolism just over a week ago while he was embedded with the 3rd Infantry Division in Iraq. To those soldiers, including a young man from Louisville, Bloom became one of their own. Now, NBC wants the soldiers' wives to be with Bloom's family at his burial. Wave 3's Connie Leonard shares that story.
A moment to remember 2 soldiers and 1 reporter. 3 brothers of the Army's 3rd Infantry Division lost to the war with Iraq.
David Bloom will always be remembered for his ambition and his confidence. And I believe the biggest thing that impressed me about David is he lived the life of our soldiers here on the battlefield.
Aaron was there when he died.
Louisvillian Aaron Paulsgrove was designated to show David Bloom around his 315 battalion when the reporter arrived. Aaron's father, Gary, says all the men of the 315 quickly formed a friendship with Bloom.
He just found out a couple hours ago that his wife, Erica, had a baby.
David Bloom was a part of their prayer meeting every morning, and they would get together and I guess pray. I don't think you can get closer to anybody than to go through a war and battle together. And I think that was a real bond that probably very few people completely understand.
When Bloom died suddenly of a pulmonary embolism, many of the soldiers' wives began sending his family their condolences. Knowing how close Bloom was to the men, NBC offered to pay for the wives to attend Bloom's New York funeral this week to pay their respects in person.
Oh, goodness, I was shocked. What an honor it was.
The invitation included Aaron's wife, Wendy, a University of Louisville graduate who now lives in Hinesville, Georgia, near Fort Stewart.
He was our connection to our husband. We were having sleepless nights. We could get up at any point in the night and go downstairs and wait until we saw a David Bloom report to know that our husbands were okay.
Wendy says many tears were shed when Bloom died. He was their daily comfort, even allowing their husbands to call home from his phone.
And you can't imagine what a difference one phone call can make. It brightens your whole week, and in some cases, I guess your whole month if you haven't heard. It will be incredibly difficult and incredibly emotional for all of us because since he's passed away, we've lost some soldiers in our battalion, and it's just a reminder of how fragile life is.
The funeral will be held at 2 this Wednesday at St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York. Wendy Paulsgrove is one of 14 wives who were invited to be with the family. She says they'll leave on an NBC chartered flight from Savannah Wednesday morning. She hopes to convey to Bloom's family what kind of comfort he brought to all who were waiting here back home. Back to you.
Thanks, Connie. So hard for many of us.
A doctor's office in Louisville where they support the troops.
A big flag of support that they put out in the hallway.
And the troops' parents.
Yellow ribbon, red, white, and blue.
Office manager Jolene Eicher's son, Aaron Paulsgrove, part of a support unit on the front lines.
He's right there with the Bradleys. He's right there with the tanks.
And it's not hard for her or Aaron's dad to find out when their son is coming under fire.
His unit is with this reporter.
David Bloom.
The spirits of these soldiers have soared.
If I'm awake, I'm generally got a TV on somewhere close at hand.
I have the clicker in hand as I stand there and watch it.
Ready to turn away.
It's a pretty sad moment to watch him. It's painful.
These parents can't.
If one of your children were ill and in surgery, and it was questionable whether they were going to make or not, would you want to watch the surgery or not?
Just today, Aaron's dad saw a video of missiles flying over his son's unit.
There goes another one.
The scariest moment for Jolene came when she heard reports of the 3rd Infantry soldiers who fell into Iraqi hands.
Well, my son's with a support unit with the 3rd Infantry, and of course, you know, I'm immediately thinking, was that his men, you know, or was he involved in that?
Thankfully, it wasn't Aaron's group.
Then I think of their families, and you're going to make me cry thinking about that. I think of their families.
A nightmare these parents hope they never see.
Admired, he gave every ounce of his being for those whom he
That slow process is what kept traffic backed up for so many hours.
Hundreds filled St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York City to bid peace to NBC News correspondent David Bloom. The 39-year-old anchor of Weekend Today died suddenly of a blood clot while reporting from Iraq on April 5th. In a prophetic note written to his wife earlier that day, he said, quote, "When the moment comes in my life when you are talking about my last days, I am determined that you and others will say, he was devoted to his wife and children. He was admired. He gave every ounce of his being for those whom he cared most about, not himself, but God and his family."
A Louisvillian was one of the first soldiers to help guide David Bloom and his crew around. Wave 3 has been keeping up with the family of Aaron Polsgrove for several weeks now. Tonight, Connie Leonard talked with the soldier himself from his camp in Baghdad.
From the west bank of the Tigris River, next to Saddam Hussein's main Baghdad palace, Manuel grad Aaron Polsgrove calls home.
Never in my wildest imagination did I think that I'd be traipsing through the presidential palace in downtown Baghdad, checking out Saddam Hussein's private bedroom and his private bathroom.
What, can you describe it to us?
The palace?
Yeah.
It was absolutely amazing. One of the things that really amazed me was that all the windows were bulletproof. I'm not talking small arms ammunition. These windows had been shot at by tanks and Bradleys.
This week, the 315 platoon leader's mission is restoring peace to Baghdad. Trying to stop looting is a daily task. Quite a change from the first time his unit came on intense enemy fire. To his surprise, no one froze.
The soldiers all, got down and returned fire and stayed calm.
Polsgrove says the best part of his job now is interacting with Iraqi people.
And I even got choked up on several occasions because the joy was so genuine. You could just see it in their faces. And I mean, they come up to us and tell us that we are a miracle. Really good feeling. And then you feel that, wow, we really are doing a good thing over here.
Aaron's wife, Wendy, attended the New York funeral service for NBC reporter David Bloom.
We're under attack right now.
All the guys really enjoyed knowing that there was somebody here telling our story.
Aaron says Saturday's memorial service in Iraq for David and two fellow soldiers was extremely touching.
It was really neat to hear our national anthem sung in the middle of Baghdad. I question if our national anthem has ever been sung in Baghdad before.
Aaron tells us the support from home means everything to the troops, especially since the biggest battle is being away from family. That's why, as we're losing his satellite phone connection, we wanted to make sure this message was delivered.
I've got a feeling all Kentucky that I just miss a whole bunch, and I can't wait to get home to see them all.
And Aaron says we would be amazed by the large number of Iraqi adults and children who speak English and who have come up to thank them. He says the weather in Baghdad has been really good this week, and the living conditions are even better. His unit is now staying inside a fire station, and he hopes to be back home sometime this summer. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Connie.
You gotta be patient with me. Oh, gosh.
saw it in the reflection. I in the door, and I was like, "Why Wendy sounded so good yesterday?"
Wendy, you're a lying dog, you.
Are you Wendy?
Wendy gets the Oscar.
Sit on the way over here.
Oh, baby, you're home. I'm gonna kill you. You too. You cheated, lied to me. Oh, baby. You're home when you get home. How'd you get from Kuwait here today?
I said he won't do this. Aaron knows we hate surprises. Oh, you feel so
How'd you get home, buddy?
Long walk.
When did you get home? When did you get home? He needed it.
Hey.
Oh, honey.
You knew this.
I really didn't know. I was already. When you get home.
I want to shake my hand for him. No, give me a hug. Oh, man. That's one heck of a surprise. That's one heck of a surprise.
Does Dad know?
No, nobody knows.
Are you going to surprise him?
You want me to?
He may have a heart attack.
We should call him first.
And your sister? How does it feel to be back
feels
home
good.
on American soil?
It feels good.
Honey, you don't get lost any weight or anything.
Yeah, gain weight. You sure did.
Honey, let me see you.
Look at him.
I don't believe it's you. She's so much, baby. I missed you so much.
I missed you, Dad.
Don't worry.
It's been over a year.
Oh, it's been a year. A year and a half. So much, baby. I can't believe you came home. We had all played out the way I had it. What?
I love calling Grandpa.
Okay.
Oh, baby.
Did they answer there?
You look great.
I feel great.
737.
Oh. I'm gonna kill you.
It's been tried already.
Yeah, but I'm gonna do it. You're bulletproof. I guess I can.
So, how long do we get to keep you?
As long as you want.
Forever? At least a week.
Oh, that was wonderful.
Oh, well, believe
Here we're
it.
saying August.
Andy.
Here we're saying August is going to be a wonderful month.
So, when'd you get in town?
A week ago today.
You got here?
Not here in Louisville and then I spent a week with Wendy.
You've been on for a week?
Yeah.
When'd you get up here, though?
Just right now, like 5 minutes ago.
Somebody wants to say something to you.
Hey, old soldier, this is a young soldier. I'm home.
You're home?
Yes.
Where is home?
Right here at Sunbury.
Oh, yeah. When did you get home, man?
About 30 seconds ago.
Poor guy works fast. It's so good to hear your voice.
Yeah, well, we're gonna be down there in a day or two, Papa, to see you.
Oh, do that. Golly, this is the best day we've had. Good Lord, you sound so good, Aaron.
You surprised?
Love you.
I love you, Granny.
Yes, we
Oh, she's crying.
You guys, when did you get in?
Just now.
Just now?
Yeah. To Louisville.
I mean, you landed down there?
No.
I didn't even talk.
I'll tell you the whole story, but I got in a week ago. A week ago, Papa.
A week ago.
Yeah.
This is a whole fake thing.
No, I was fine actually. It just took me probably 3 or 4 days to get over the jet lag, and flew.
I'm Wendy.
I didn't stop traveling. On the 18th, I left Fallujah at 6 a.m. My Humvee drove to Baghdad, caught a C5 from Baghdad to Kuwait, and I waited in Kuwait from about 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. the next morning. I caught a flight to Saudi Arabia. From Saudi Arabia, caught a flight to Cyprus. From Cyprus, caught a flight to Frankfurt. From Frankfurt, caught a flight to Baltimore. In Baltimore, I didn't get in till 8 p.m. 2 days later, so there was no more flights that evening. So me and another guy from 3ID rented a car and drove from Baltimore to Hinesville. You did? Hell yeah. Right through the night. So about 60 hours of traveling.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, honey.
So they said you go home as long as you can find your own way, huh? So
Well,
you get your own ride back?
I could have waited about a week for a flight to take me right into Hunter in Savannah, but he said heck with it. Yeah.
No, I'm the one that's... I know you're heck with it. And so...
And then I called Connie, and I said, hey, let's... He called Connie? And I said, let's do this.
I was still in Iraq, and I'm like, you calling me again from Iraq?
Wait a minute, Wendy, a week ago, when I said Aaron's voicemail is on his cell phone. Almost screwed up. I said, Wendy, something, I was right. I knew it. I said, something's up. Because I knew, I said, you just got this new cell phone like 6 months ago. Aaron's been gone.
He kept sensing
And I
kept saying, Gary, no, your imagination.
I kind of con man.
I called Wendy. I said, Wendy, what's up with this? She goes, oh, I took her not being so naive sometime. I thought, well, okay, I kind of believed her. But she was going, yeah, I don't know, maybe you called the wrong number. Then I called back like later, and it was the old voicemail I was going.
Change it right back.
Okay, I'm tripping now. Okay, Gary.
I told you when.
But I called your mom on the phone. I said, something's up. I called that phone, and something's going on. I don't know what it is.
I said, Gary, calm down.
You're making up stuff.
I said, you want this so bad, you're starting to imagine things.
When it was, I was right. Wendy the con man did.
She did damn good, I tell you.
When Gary got Aaron's voicemail, I had to lock
Change it. And then, of course, we get the message from Dad saying, why is your voice on the voicemail? And I thought,
oh, my dad.
When she was talking to you, I was on the other line. We were planning on admitting it. We were just planning on admitting that our cover was blown, and you would rather have Dad on your side than working against you.
You talk about Christian and being integrity, the Army, and all that crap. Well, both of you lied.
She told that
You're commanding officer. What the hell's that?
It's the best.
Well, you get a promotion. I figured you forget it.
It's the best.
Being in the war and all that, and our prayer was that God would become a better husband and more tender-hearted and more sensitive and a better Christian than he's ever been.
Your prayer was answered.
And it was.
I came home and the first thing I did was tell a lie.
All right then.
Golly, Nicole, come here. My goodness. You are so... What are you, like 5'10", 5'9"?
Oh, I've got pictures.
Oh, I didn't think of it. Taller than Mom. You are so beautiful. Thank you. Every time I come home, you get prettier and prettier.
And I was so excited to wait. Yesterday I'm dancing around the house when they're all here, so we had to make sure.
That's the only thing I really felt bad about was that y'all thinking I was still in Iraq. So Wendy told you I was in Kuwait, so I wouldn't have to feel guilty. That's why we told you that. At least, I mean, it's not right that they still have to worry. So.
Was it your idea to at least tell us he's in Kuwait?
Oh no, it was all Wendy.
A little better?
Wendy gets the Oscar. She's
First time I was turning his weapons. And the next thing was like, well, they haven't turned in their weapons yet. I was going,
here she comes. No.
There she is.
There's your nephew.
Oh, this little guy.
Don't get me on camera. I've got Lenny's pants on. I haven't even brushed my teeth.
There's the little guy. Oh my goodness.
get him out of there.
That is definitely Lenny's baby.
Yes, it is.
I've been so excited to be an uncle.
Only because I love my husband. There you go.
My gosh, he's tiny.
Even though I like Oh.
This is a good one.
Hey, it's been so long since I had a newborn.
Yeah, we can tell.
I think the last newborn I had was James.
We're gonna teach him to call you Oliver.
I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'll work it out.
Casey William.
We'll saw pictures on the internet from the hospital.
My goodness.
Yeah, he's a sweet little boy.
He's definitely Lenny's baby. My goodness.
Perfect.
How old is he? He's what? How old is he? 5 weeks old?
5 weeks. I mean,
Really. So I went home and I'm just like running around the house and just jumping up and down. I felt like I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
And I couldn't call
Does he do that all the time?
I knew it would be the most excited.
you took your mom over, didn't you?
Yes,
I'm glad you did this.
before you.
Yeah. About time you went first.
So Aaron, you called Connie, set this up?
Sure did.
Yeah.
I just, you know,
I should have brought Great Mimi here. I didn't, no idea. My mother's 91 years old. She's every day waiting for Aaron, waiting for Aaron.
Have much of a response. I mean, I didn't really know what to say.
1 year ago this week, Americans remember this image of the fall of Saddam Hussein's government. Captain Paulsgrove has his images and mementos too. Medals taken from Iraqi soldiers, as well as patches from their uniforms. He even has palatial napkins taken from one of many palaces in Baghdad, and oddly enough, those napkins were made in France. He does say that even though he is home right now, he does keep an eye on what's been going on in the country of Iraq.
Most Iraqis are still very thankful that we're there. They want us to be there, and the folks that are causing the most problems are those who, you know, who they had power and now they don't anymore. I'm talking about the Ba'ath Party.
And another happy note, Aaron and Wendy are expecting their very first child in October. Aaron says he is happy with the military and he will stay in the service for some time to come. Tony Hyatt, WHAS 11 News.
Thank you, Tony. Well, the fighting in Iraq...
Buckhead believes the war in Iraq was the right thing to do.
Everywhere we went, people were just smiling. They wanted to interact with us. You know, the women in that culture that are normally very reserved, they were out wanting to kiss our hands and just say whatever they could say in English, you know, thank you or welcome. And
Paulsgrove says he plans to stay in the military for a few more years. He and his wife, Wendy, are expecting their first child in October.
Okay, let's go. Go lock up the house, Craig. I'll let it up to you.
How long's that battery last?
Back door's locked up.
All right, you got your stuff up back here, honey? Where's that lighter? Trevor?
That's cool.
Okay, we'll have a little briefing. Sure how this stuff works.
So, I'm gonna help you. So much for this. I think I can do it. I know better.
There's a...
I got it right this. Alright.
Wait, look at the lighter.
Well, he's in that Kroger bag.
Kroger bag.
He's going to get some garbage bags.
I got him.
Why don't you just bring the box?
I thought you said just get their ring up.
Where are we? We're oh, we just passed the. No, oh, wait a second.
We're gonna be all zany.
Made some popcorn. Took the thing off.
I like this, man. You taking inventory?
What?
You taking inventory?
You ready to watch a movie here?
Yeah, that's Super 8. Super 8 millimeter.
Yeah, I've never seen them glasses.
There's Beth
Never seen my
Gravel.
read glasses. So that's what I work in. I work.
I ain't never been.
Does it?
Real
Good. About that.
Real Gary. Yes, it's a great point. 418. That's what that sign says.
You look for a mile marker.
Navigating.
Do a mile marker where it is.
It's mile marker 118.
Okay, so.
118. It's exit it.
So it's mile, they're the same way. It's like they're.
Still got a long way to go.
So we're looking for 219.
So we got 219. So we got
119 back there, Gary.
We're basically 100 miles down the road. What are we doing?
Almost 11:30.
You know what? I probably should. I like
11:30.
just stop.
Figuring out more.
I like furnace and turning E off back here.
More schedule.
Oh, it's not back.
Get a little cold
I
now.
just get
First our office cool.
Oh, don't like it.
It's getting a little cold now. I'm gonna have to cut it short so everybody's
This
sweating.
heater's probably not going to keep it real warm back here.
Everybody's keep kind of cool.
So I can like the
Really
furnace.
cold outside.
There's heat
Really
anyway.
cold.
What?
I think they're on the heat.
What's this here?
Nobody's right there.
67 here, there.
You can go back.
The baby's asleep.
He's not asleep.
Sardines for you.
It is 5 after 1.
5 after 1.
5 after 1 in the morning.
We're still not there.
And look, and everybody looks just as
Time
fresh
for me
as
to
when
get
was
up.
that.
Time for me to get
Just
up.
the monarch,
Get my water.
the dynasty began with Jackie Holmes. My back is killing me. As a little dance across. I was told you could join me. And I thought it was going through the window. The last Trevor was going to catch me. What happened? I mean, why did what
Did we get lost?
I don't
Made it
know.
wrong.
Just mix the eggs or
See,
something.
Lady was fine when I was in
We're making a mess, you know.
I went to the bathroom and got lost.
Let's take a wrong eggs at Gary.
Yeah, correct.
Oh, not Gary.
Are we very far?
Bridge.
I don't know how far off are we?
Freezer.
Not. Well, I'll be using the public restroom from here on out.
At the end of it, Gary.
It's a toll. What toll is this?
Yeah, when we get off.
What toll was this?
Pennsylvania Turnpike. Pennsylvania Turnpike. We got Mario Andretti at the wheel. A wild child. Throwing people
I'm
around.
not wild. I just don't drive these things.
You're just fine.
Manette. Manette, you can come on.
I'll put this in the old,
So which way?
Easter way.
Huh?
Kill the light.
Into Wood
What?
in New Jersey.
We're gonna have to stop at the house.
What time is it, Dad?
About 10:30.
What time is it?
I think we got about 3.5 hours. I don't think it's going to take 3.5 hours to go. No, 300 miles to go.
What time is it? 2:30?
It's 2:30 in the morning. 300 miles. Wendy's driving and we're still safe.
Everyone's listening. Can't see it.
Still safe. Got the wide angle on there. Not good.
What time is it? I have time. Time is 6:41. Well, got a little lost. Got a little lost. Get back on track.
We're in Pennsylvania? Yes, we're in Hamburg. Hamburg, Pennsylvania.
What do you mean? Gotta videotape everything.
Hey, what's the name of the hotel? Mimi. What's the name of the hotel?
What hotel?
That we're staying in.
Oh, I don't know. I have no
Time for a
idea.
bath break.
He didn't say going in there, Tony.
And we're showing all tired.
Aaron made the reservations. Aaron, I know what did.
You have time?
5 minutes after 8.
It's 5? What?
5 minutes after 8.
5 after 8. We're still not in New York. We're very, very close. We almost out of New Jersey or what?
We're almost down.
We're almost there.
Getting ready to go to New York. We're getting ready to enter New York City. Getting ready to go to New York.
Getting ready to go to New York City. Going to New York City. Now.
Another cold food. Oh, come on. Give me a break.
My bad.
Oh my gosh, I don't believe this. Another toll booth. What are these people crazy? It's 175 cents. You're going broke. You have to have a change. What is it? No, Westport.
We're at the bend. Westport.
My God, what's that thing? Think about this, that thing.
Gary got off the plane after visiting you last fall. Y'all gonna go, do you think I drive aggressively? You should drive with Aaron in New York. Oh my God, I was even nervous.
Yeah, I thought I was aggressive. I'm the most aggressive driver I've ever
First thing
driven
he
with.
said when he
So I've had to drove with Aaron in New York. He was like, get out and move that barricade out of the way, it's parked there. Okay. I get out and move this big wooden barricade out of the way, we pull in and put it back.
They were reserving it for somebody.
They were reserving it for like some big mafia guy. We thought we got. What's that?
It rained, and it would stop. It would rain, it would stop. Every time they pull it.
Fierce Billy's now.
Is it right on? Yeah. He said, yeah, you have too.
I know I have. I just don't see.
He's great hair.
But you know what? You know how most actors don't look like they look.
After rush hour traffic. Down later, like 9 or 10.
Good luck. a picture of you in it, Carter. Let me get a picture of you. Well. Yeah, I'm okay. Well, this is it, y'all.
Okay.
All right, let's go.
All right.
Get a picture, good panoramic view. Go slow, Carter, so show up there. Go real slow.
You can spin it. We're slow. We're slow.
You want a picture? You guys can All right, we're crawling. We're crawling.
Go slow so you can out this stuff real goofy. Wait a minute. I didn't do it.
Not worried, but I can see, you know.
Brian doesn't have nothing to worry about.
Not so bad.
She'll be with him for the rest of his life. Hello. How are you?
I'm so glad that you decided to get us dressed up a little bit. I'm glad you're getting decided. That was bad, the things you took of us sleeping.
We're going there. What?
Pick up pictures of you wadded up in a not sound asleep.
Carter James, wait till I get you home, boy.
He did.
Better. See, look. Fall down there. Okay.
Check out that window. There. There's that window.
It's pretty down here. Okay, see, our baby's there.
No, we went over there. There's nothing in there. It's locked in. No. Too much? No. Well, I'll get my hand off it.
That's good. We just want to...
Hold it right there.
No, we can hide under the table. He's got a movie camera. He doesn't have to get us in. Please don't.
I was getting a little plaque there.
Oman already, so that's why he's not here for some of his summer training. The new yearlings to be out in Buckner, and just 1,000 things going on as usual, which is nothing new for the cadets of New York City. One of the things that we want to do today is recognize our outgoing president, but other key members of the council who have given of their own time over the last years, in some cases 4 years, in order to put out the word about this great place that you will someday call your alma mater and that we call our alma mater. Not only about this great place, West Point, but about the Army opportunity out there and what it can do for you once you leave West Point and get that commission. So that's what today is about. It's recognizing the work literally of a couple of hundred cadets who have given freely of their own time when they could have been sitting in Grant Hall between classes, when they could have been I don't know, I don't guess you can rack during AMI yet. The comm just walked in, so you got to be real careful how you answer that question. When you could have been doing your own thing, you were working with our candidates and parents, getting the great word about this opportunity out. We're really pleased today to have Major General George Oliver Hillard III, the commander of the 85th Exercise Division, here to present a saber to Aaron Cosgrove for his work from liaison officers, our reserve officers who help us out. Now, General Hillard is a wonderful person, not just because he's a general, because he's an infantryman. Got it. Thanks, Aaron. Okay. Born in Columbus, Georgia, of all places, so it makes sense that he would be an infantryman. His grandfather was a colonel there, and his father was a lieutenant there at Fort Benning. He graduated from West Point in 1964, class of 64, spent almost 14 years on active duty before he left active duty. Highlights of a wonderful career of active duty were infantry platoon leader, scout platoon leader in Vietnam, battalion staff officers, brigade S1, also aide-de-camp to the commander of the 3rd Infantry Division, and a number of other wonderful assignments. But the highlight for you cadets to know about was he got his master's degree in English at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, and he taught English here for 3 years. So I think there'll be warm places in their hearts for somebody with a former English degree. I doubt that. In his civilian job, he is the director of training for the Nalco Chemical Company, and he travels all over the world and has been gracious enough to take time out to come and make this presentation for us today and to talk a little bit about what the importance of you cadets are to West Point, to our efforts, and to the Army. Sir, without further ado, thank you very much for being here.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Great day to be in the Army, and it's a great day to be here at West Point. I'm representing the Chief of the Army Reserve, General Thomas Pluis, to present the saber today. And I'd like to say just a couple of things about why we're presenting this award and how important it is, the things that you do. This past weekend in Illinois, we had the Secretary of the Army visit us for Armed Forces Week. And the chairman of Armed Forces Week was the chairman of my company, Nalco Chemical Company. And in his remarks, he said he thought that we would succeed. He's a civilian, of course. He thought that we would succeed in the Army. And in spite of the difficulties we have these days with op-tempo, budgets, everything that makes the military career a challenging career, he still thought we would succeed. And the reason he thought we would succeed is that we would be able to find outstanding people. There are 3 things you have to do: find them, attract them, and then keep them. The activities we're honoring here today help us find them and attract them. Those of you wearing the white shirts and the green shirts, your job later on or now is to keep them. And you keep them with good leadership, good challenging assignments. They're going to be plenty busy. And I'm a drilling reservist right now, but I will tell you that I have no free weekends. Since I quote-unquote got out of the Army, I've spent more time in the Army. I have traveled more for the Army, as well as for my civilian job. A typical day when I was in the Army Reserve Special Forces was to leave my office at 3 in the afternoon, go to Glenview Naval Air Station, get on a C-141, and fly to Utah and jump about 11:30 at night. Those were good days. So we did that for about 11 years. But the fact of the matter is, there are a lot of very fine young people, many of them seated here today, who are not only willing to serve their country, but who want to serve their country. And we'll do it if we can find them and get the message to them on what the Army can do for them. We want them to do a great deal for the Army, but I will tell you that everything I do in my civilian job, I learned in the Army. I teach the same subjects: leadership, management, a little bit of English here and there. But the Army has done so much for me that I look back at every single minute I spent on active duty was a good time. And in the Army Reserve, it's a little bit different, but not that different. We still need the same kind of people who are willing to do the same things voluntarily and with enthusiasm. here to tell you there are a lot of young folks out there who will do it. We can just find them and get the word to them, and of course you know what that's all about. I had the pleasure of going to Fort Benning 2 years ago to the Infantry OCS Hall of Fame ceremony. My chief of staff was inducted. Got to go into billets and see some of the candidates. 18, 19, 20 years old. They're going to be lieutenants before too long, as you will be. I was very, very much impressed with the caliber of these people. They're outstanding, they're motivated, they're sharp. So these are the kind of people you're going to be serving with in the coming years. General Pluis will be very pleased to be here today, I'm sure, and I'm happy to represent him here and hear a little bit about what you all have been doing, and of course to recognize Aaron's accomplishment. And again, I'm very, very pleased to be here. Probably the last time I'll be at West Point in uniform. I'm going to retire the 8th of August this year and buy a racing cart. Well, maybe a new set of golf clubs. My wife is not too hot for the idea about the racing car, but we'll see about that. But it's been a great pleasure. It's been a great adventure. When I remember standing here 35 years ago and 39 years ago, and the commandant said, "Your great adventure is about to begin." He wasn't kidding. We all were a little skeptical, being 18 years old and knowing everything, but he was not kidding, and it's still an adventure even to this day. So I wish all of you the very best of luck. Very happy to hear that Aaron is going to the 3rd Infantry Division, my old unit, served 2 tours there. Great outfit. One last piece of advice. If you haven't done it yet, go to jump school. Everybody should jump out of an airplane at some time in their life. Seriously. Thank you very much. I'm very, very pleased to be here with you.
But as I told you up front, Josh Holtz, the new president, who would be recognized for his service today, is in Oman. And we miss him for that, but he's having fun over there, I know for sure. Okay.
Year to the outgoing president of the CPRC. The monies are donated by the MALO officers, reserves officers throughout the United States, which we have about 414 of them. And graciously, General Hilliard has come up to represent the OCAR, Chief of the Army Reserve, to make the presentation. Thanks, I really don't have a speech prepared, but I would be amiss if I didn't mention a few people that I owe thanks to. First and foremost, of course, is my family, my father, who's been my salesman, my cheerleader, and my encourager during my 4 years here, my grandmother, who knew I was coming to West Point before I did, my mother, who's not here, unfortunately, whose love and support I definitely could not have done without. And you know, everyone keeps mentioning my accomplishment, but this saber represents not just my accomplishment, it represents a lot of people's hard work and effort throughout their 4 years. I had the honor and privilege of participating in this program throughout the past 4 years. I was introduced to it as a plebe and just fell in love with it. Just really enjoyed talking to people about West Point, especially as a plebe and a yearling when things were tough for me. Kind of gave me a real fresh perspective and knew that this is something I wanted to continue throughout my 4 years here. And I had the great privilege of working with a lot of really good people, like the folks that were just mentioned. I couldn't have done it without the plebes and the yearlings and the cows that were consistently here throughout the entire year, faithfully supporting the program. Whether they were escorting groups of parents around the academy or giving briefings to them, or escorting their sons and daughters who are prospective cadets. So I'm really blessed to have been a part of this program throughout my 4 years. And I'm definitely going to miss it, but not that bad.
Right now, Aaron and I would like to give some certificates to cadets who have volunteered for us 17 times or more during the year.
Yeah, 3.
That is being played as the graduating class marches to the reserve line in Army Blue.
Supposed to be right down here somewhere.
The class of 2000 will now assume command of the Corps of Cadets for the remainder of the parade.
Military Academy Band is under the direction of Lieutenant Colonel David H. Dietrich, assisted by Major William H.L. Garlett and Chief Warrant Officer Kevin R. Laird, with the Drum Major, Sergeant Major Kelvin C. Hill. Is now commanded by Cadet Joseph Biella from Long Island, New York. From Lebanon, Pennsylvania.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of the official Army song, The Army Goes Rolling Along. Please feel free to sing along with us as it is played.
Carter's razor. New razor. Be here. Be here, sister. Swing out there.
Is it hot and snatcher?
Okay, sorry, I got him covering his face. That's exactly how I wanted it.
Hey. Hey.
Covers his face.
Look at the camera.
I'll
fight you. Get your camera.
Man, sun's in our eyes. Okay, who else took one?
He didn't charge enough for mileage anyway.
No, I doubt he's coming in.
Face.
So they're going to knock $150 off because he's eager.
After the parade.
No, $100 off goes like another $50.
Just picked up Dad from the bank. Headed on back to the hotel. Tomorrow's a big graduation.
It's got like this residue built up.
Heading on back to the hotel.
Well, just take some of that Windex and squirt off. See, it's from the way you fried out that bacon.
He's a member of Commerce, Education, and Workforce Committees. He served in the Army 67, 69 as a captain, including a 4-1-7 Air War Brigade in Vietnam. Next two gentlemen need no introduction. Most of us. General Buzz Lampkin, Dean of the Academic Board, West Point Class of 64, and to his left, General John Ashley, Commandant of Depths, West Point Class of 1973. Next, our graduation speaker, whom I will introduce formally in a moment, Chief of Staff of the Army, Dennis J. Reimer, West Point Class of 1962. M. Borley, Daniel S. Eulich, Scott J. Boston, Lindsay E. Halter, Gerald D. Brennan III, Christopher J. Herndon, Kyle J. Brennan, Michael L. Hill, Andrew W. Casey, David A. Baja, Alicia A. Kim, Christopher M. Kim, Thomas R. Germano, Todd L. Looney, Jason P. Omri, Sarah E. Meany, Stephen B. McGonigal, Joshua P. Elliott, Kevin R. Magalero, Andrew J. Gaskowski, James M. Aboyle, Christina J. Kretschmann, Justin D. Ford, Kevin J. Shannon, Kaylin E. Osborne, Karen A. Singfield, Clark K. Patterson, Andrew M. Slack, Cyril M. Swallow, Terry W. Slater, Robert M. Purchase, Jeremy D. Smith, Richard M. Ross, Andrew J. Sparkman, Raymond J. Schmutzer, Michael J. Tess, Roger P. Walensky Jr., C. Malcolm Williams, Brian D. Bowden, Patrick M. Yanoni, Christopher A. Britt, Maureen M. Amato, Jack N. Collins III, Robert J. Barrett, Gary M. Conway, Rebecca D. Benedict, Valencia A. Salavega, Bradford D. Bigler, William J. Gavagna, C. Paul Colbert, Jeffrey P. DiMarzio, Douglas A. DiCenzo, Ryan R. Geesley, Kenneth W. Driscoll, Joshua D. Deacon, David A. Delaney, Joshua M. Fleming, Brian M. Bechtel, James L. Galloway, James D. Vinacaro, Johnny L. Goff Jr., Susan M. Galen, John T. Goodrich, Michael R. Usman, David S. Gray, Nicholas P. Allen, Ryan P. Calvert,
Stephen M. Johnson Jr., Richard K. Harding Jr., Huey H. Kim, Emily A. Harrington, Jared N. Lang, Jason T. Lewis, Sherry M. Malik, David M. Mulenkamp, John O. McCluskey, Aaron S. Paulsgrove, Thomas C. Parker, Jeremy M. Phillips, John M. Rosso, Dina M. Breitnauer, Ty S. Remington, David R. Smith, Roderick J. Richardson, Lynn M. Smolinski, Nathan P. Ritter, Brian J. Stickney, Nicholas C. King, Mark A. Hitler, Michael G. Shatton, William L. Ford, Ryan L. Shaw, Clinton S. Williams, Robert E. Underwood III, J. Weatherwax, Second Regiment, 4th Regiment, Hugh R. Alley, Edith E. Alcorn, John M. Candy, Mark A. Ponitar, David A. Towns, Suresh M. Rangapal, Angela S. Robinson, Joseph P. Stanier, Robert H. Whitten, Richard T. Whittington. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise, remain uncovered, and join the combined choirs in singing the alma mater. Please remain standing and uncovered while the oath of office is administered to the class of 1999. Members of the class of 1999, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your full name. Having been appointed an officer in the United States Army in the grade of second lieutenant, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter. So help me God. Please remain standing and uncovered for the benediction by Chaplain Edson Wood.
May we pray. Eternal God of the ages, we turn to you now that this morning's drama nears its end. We pray you reach your powerful hand into the lives of these graduates. Guide them, protect them, give them happiness. Let them remember that duty, honor, country is not a way of looking only at certain things. It is a certain way of looking at everything. We pray you make them men and women for whom duty, honor, and country becomes and remains a way of life. Look too on the parents, the families, and the other loved ones of these young men and women, and on those who could not be here today to share the triumph of this moment. Gracious Lord, bless this academy and all who are a part of its efforts. May West Point always and forever make this nation proud, as it does today in these graduates. And finally, Father, we speak yet again what has been the constant prayer of our hearts. Bless the United States of America and bless the class of 1999. Amen.
Commandant of Cadets, take charge of the graduating class of West Point.
Class of 1999. Dismiss.